What do you need, General?
I have plans here to build a signal interceptor that can get me inside the Institute.
The Institute? Why in the world would you want to mess around with them?
They kidnapped my son.
Damn. That's some bad business. Even for them. We'll give you whatever help we can. Don't worry about that. Now, assuming you could build this thing, what exactly does it do?
The Institute uses teleportation to get in and out. This machine can hijack their signal and send me instead.
Teleportation? For real? Wow. That would explain a lot about how the Institute manages to operate. If anyone can make heads or tails of those plans, it'd be Sturgis. Apparently the castle's been trying to get you on the radio. Some kind of situation over there. Better go see what's going on.
Preston thought you might be able to figure out these plans for me.
Sure thing. Let's see what you've got.
Here you go.
Wow. What a mess. Looks like, encrypted RF transmissions. Okay, so that gets routed through... What the hell? Teleportation. This is some pretty crazy shit. You sure it's for real?
It's real. I got it from an ex-Institute scientist.
Seriously? I didn't know you could be an ex-Institute anything and still be breathing. Anyway, the egghead, I'm gonna need some time to study this thing. The handwriting's pretty hard to make out. But, you can get started on what he calls a stabilized reflector platform. It'll need some pretty high-grade metals, but it's basically not that different than the lining of a jet engine or something like that.
Good work, Sturgis.
Well, don't thank me yet. I think I got...
Here's a list of what you'll need while you're working on that.
Keep in mind, like if you had a spare nuke,
Uh-huh.
and it's going to be big.
Hey, Sturgis.
How's it going? Did you find a good spot to build your signal interceptor?
Yeah. Ready to build the rest of it.
Good. I think I got a handle on this crazy contraption. At least as much as I can tell. Until we actually try to build it, here's a list of 3 things that may be harder to find. I think I'll be able to pull together everything else we're gonna need.
I'll meet you over at the building site and see if we can actually make this thing work.
Thanks, Sturgis. I'll get right on this.
Good deal.
One thing to keep in mind while you're building this, it all needs to be wired together so all the pieces can talk to each other.
I'll see you over at the building site. Good luck.
Fugitive is attempting to evade.
Got nothing.
Won't be able to pick this. Security's too good.
willing to do some work?
I'd be glad to help. Just tell me what you need.
Well, for starters, we could use some real beds.
Sure.
Just make sure we can... There's a workbench over there you can use.
Uh-huh. Just looking to trade a little.
Just gotta make sure we've got enough power. Make sure it's all on the same grid. All the parts have got to be able to talk to each other, you know. One of these houses would be a good place to set up some beds.
Sturgis.
Everything looks good on my end. You ready to see if this thing actually works?
Shouldn't we test it first?
I wish we could, but we've only got the one frequency code. There's no way to test it without actually jacking into the Institute signal. As soon as the Institute figures out what we did, and I gotta believe those brainiacs won't be...
Sure. Let's do this.
You sure? Okay.
Uh-huh.
I'll start scanning for an Institute signal to lock onto. Then, I fire her up and we see what happens. I'm ready when you are. Okay, hold real still. I don't want any corruption of the molecular beam. Oh yeah, by the way, I figured this was a golden opportunity to find out as much as we can about the Institute and what they're up to. Yeah, this holotape's all set with a program that will scan their network and download anything it finds. Uh-oh. Yeah, we better hurry. And don't worry about that tubing wiggling around. It's, just there for decoration. Okay. Scanning for the Institute signal. Tracking RF. And... got it. Hold on to your butt.
Hello? I wondered if you might make it here. You're quite resourceful. I'm known as Father. The Institute is under my guidance. I know why you're here. I'd like to discuss things with you face to face. Please, step into the elevator. I can only imagine what you've heard, what you think of us. I'd like to show you that you may have the wrong impression. Welcome to the Institute. This is the reality of the Institute. This place, these people, the work we do. For over 100 years, we've dedicated ourselves to humanity's survival. Decades of research, countless experiments and trials, a shared vision of how science can help shape the future. It has never been easy, and our actions are often misinterpreted by those above ground. Someday, perhaps, we can show them what we've accomplished. But for now, we must remain underground. There's too much at stake here to risk it all. As you've seen, things above are unstable. I'd like to talk to you about what we can do for everyone. But that can wait. You are here for a specific, very personal reason. You are here for your son.
Sean?
Huh? Yes, I'm Sean.
Sean? Is that really you?
Who are you?
Sean, it's me. I'm your dad.
Father, what's going on? What's happening?
Sean, are you okay? You're not hurt, are you?
What's going on? Father? Father!
Shh. It'll be okay, Sean. I'm here now.
I don't know you. Go away. Father! Father, help me! There's someone here, help me!
Who is Father? Where is he?
Father? Father, help me! He's trying to take me! Father? Father, help me!
Sean. S923, recall code Cirrus. Fascinating, but disappointing. The child's responses were not at all what I anticipated. He's a prototype, you understand. We're only just now beginning to explore the effects of extreme emotional stimuli. Please try and keep an open mind. I recognize that you are emotional, and that your journey here has been fraught with challenges. Let's start anew. I am Father. Welcome to the Institute.
Father? That's your name? Your title?
Father is my unofficial title. It's what I've come to mean to the people of the Institute, just as you mean to your son, to Sean.
Just help me understand what's going on here.
I promised answers, and answers you shall have. But I need you to realize that this situation is far more complicated than you could have imagined. You have traveled very far, and suffered a great deal to find your son. Well, your tenacity and dedication have been rewarded. It's good to finally meet you, after all this time. It's me. I am Sean. I am your son.
How is that even possible?
I know this is a lot to take in. In the vault, you had no concept of the passage of time. You were released from your pod and went searching for the son you'd lost. But then you learned that your son was no longer an infant, but a 10-year-old boy. You believed that 10 years had passed. Is it really so hard to accept that it was not 10, but 60 years? That is the reality. And here I am, raised by the Institute, and now its leader.
wasn't right, what they did. Taking you from me like that.
To you, that would certainly seem true. But to the Institute, it made all the sense in the world. At that time, the year 2227, the Institute had made great strides in synth production. But it was never enough. Scientific curiosity and the goal of perfection drove them ever onward. What they wanted was the perfect machine. So they followed the best example thus far. The human being. Walking, talking, fully articulate, capable of anything.
Human synths? Really?
Human-like synths. A great distinction. The Institute endeavored to create synthetic organics. The most logical starting point, of course, was human DNA. Plenty of that was available, of course. But it had all become corrupted. In this wasteland, radiation affected everyone. Even in their attempts to shield themselves from the world above, members of the Institute had been exposed. Another source was necessary. But then the Institute found me, after discovering records from Vault 111. An infant, frozen in time, protected from the radiation-induced mutations that had crept into every other human cell in the Commonwealth. I was exactly what they needed. And so it was my DNA that became the basis of the synthetic organics used to create every human-like synth you see today. I am their father. Through science, we are family. The synths, me, and you.
And you've been down here the whole time?
I have. Yes. I know you must have questions.
Your mother. She never got to see you grow up?
Yes. What happened to her was... I've gone over the records of the incident, of course. It seems her death was...
Collateral damage? Is that all she was to you?
I forget that it's been such. I don't have any direct memories. Has it always been easy? For many years. With old age comes... But... what else can I say to ease your mind?
So you're in charge of the...
I am the acting director, yes. I spent decades working to reach this point. The Institute.
Sure. But director?
I was the most qualified. I've lived my life. Ultimately, Just give me time. What else can I say to ease your mind?
Kellogg. He worked for you?
Kellogg. He was an Institute asset long before I arrived here. It wasn't until I became director that I learned of all the things he'd done. What kind of man he was.
You knew the man was a psychopath, but you used him anyway?
Would you have preferred that I turned him loose on the Commonwealth? At least keeping him on a short leash kept the collateral damage to a minimum. The Institute took advantage of Kellogg. Institute technology. He never... I won't lie. I know there's more for us to discuss. The Institute is on... I've been a part. And now...
Yes, that's what
I know. Forgive me. There is much...
I'll do whatever it takes.
I am glad to hear that. The Institute is now your home, as much as... You want to introduce yourself to the division heads. Dr. And finally, Dr.
Almost done. Just just need to tighten up this primary drive servo.
Doc,
That's the third primary drive breakdown this month. They weren't kidding. You really are here. Well, all right. I'm Allie Fillmore. You can think of me as the Institute's chief engineer. When Father told us about you, I could hardly believe it. You've been through so much, I think most people would have just given up. If you don't mind my asking, what was it that kept you going all that time?
I just wanted to find my son and keep him safe.
Now that you've found him, I hope you're proud of the great man he grew up to be. Now, I'll give you a quick rundown of the facilities division, and then I'll answer any questions you might have afterward. As you might guess, we keep the Institute's mechanical and electrical systems running smoothly. We maintain and upgrade all of the systems that make it possible to live and work in a place like this. There's a lot of machinery behind these walls that recycles the air and water and provides power to the laboratories and quarters. The work we do might not be as exciting as some of the other departments, but it's at least as important. So, now that you're here and you've spoken to Father, does that mean you're on board?
Absolutely.
Oh, good to hear. It'll be a load off Sean's mind. Take your time. Get yourself acquainted. There's a lot to take in. Plenty of things you won't find topside. If there's anything else you'd like to know about the facilities division, I'm happy to discuss it.
Who built this place, originally? Has it been here long?
The construction of the Institute is the work of generations of scientists. The original survivors of the war, our progenitors, took refuge in the basement of the old Commonwealth Institute of Technology. Over time, their sons... It's a process that's still going on. Just think what this place will look...
Oh, I don't know. Most of them have lasted long past their projected lifespans. If you ask me, we're good.
You know the protocol, sir. Authorized personnel.
Reporting status.
Seriously thinking of heading over to robotics to knock
You're
some
here.
heads together.
Glad you made it.
They're
We're all
dragging their
looking
feet
forward
on
to
the
working
targeting package upgrades I asked for. Maybe I should take some courses with me. You know, send a message.
Hey, Doc.
Please
So,
don't. There's enough
here you
friction
are.
as it is between us
Justin Ayo,
and pretty much all
acting
the other
director of the Synth
departments.
Retention Bureau. I'll be upfront with you. We're going to be keeping a close eye on you for the near future. Despite your relation to Father, you're a bit of an unknown quantity. I'm sure you understand. There won't be any issues, will there?
Why? Don't you trust me?
I'll be honest. You're an outsider. The first outsider to be allowed access to the Institute in quite a long time, in fact. There's little precedent for this situation, so it's only natural to take extra precautions, It's nothing personal, I assure you. Now, Father has asked that I provide you with a brief overview of the Synth Retention Bureau. Our primary responsibility is the recovery of escaped synths that are hiding among the human population on the surface.
I'm sure it's best for everyone if the synths remain here.
Certainly. We can't allow sophisticated Institute technology to fall into the wrong hands. The results could be disastrous. Our main instrument is the Courser, a third-generation synth assigned to operate on the surface. Coursers hunt down and reclaim synths that have escaped the Institute. They are highly self-sufficient, trained in combat, infiltration, and tracking. In a word, our Coursers are relentless. But I gather you know all this, since you've encountered one already. In fact, I'd very much like to know how you defeated it.
I'm no stranger to combat.
Even so, a Courser should be more than a match for any single combatant. I suppose I'll have to ask robotics to perform detailed diagnostics on the entire production run. As if we don't have enough problems. Now, unless you need something else, I'll get back to work.
I'm good for now, thanks.
Very well.
Nothing to report, sir.
When are you going to tell me about this mysterious Phase 3?
You know I can't talk about that.
She's been at it for over 2 hours. What is she even testing?
Nothing.
Excuse me,
At this
Doctor?
point, she's
Ah,
just doing it for
it's
fun.
you. You're here then. Yes, I know who you are. We all do. While I'm sure Father is very happy that you're here, I do hope it doesn't interrupt our work.
Don't worry. I promise I won't get in your way.
Thank you, I do appreciate that. Oh, before I forget, let me see that Pip-Boy of yours. I've been told to install a Courser chip in it for you. Father's orders. You're to be given full access, with the ability to relay in and out of the Institute at will.
Thank you. I'm sure that'll come in handy.
Given that the relay is the only way to access the Institute, handy is something of an understatement. In case the significance is lost on you, you'll be the only one here with that kind of access. If nothing else, it should demonstrate the amount of trust Father has placed in you. Now, unless there's something else, I really do need to get back to work.
I'm good for now. Thanks.
All right.
Excuse me, I've got reports to deliver.
Have you had time to examine my latest reports on Batch 274?
Not yet. I've been reviewing Father's plans to expand our operations at Warwick. He's eager to get that going, so I've had to put everything else to one side.
I wonder how the Warwick family is doing. Young Wally must be close to 10 years old by now. It's remarkable that any child can survive for so long up there, don't
Doctor.
you think?
Welcome. So good to have you here. Dr. Clayton Holdren, head of the Bioscience Division. I can't wait for you to see the work we're doing. It's truly amazing.
I look forward to learning more about it.
In that case, let me give you a brief overview of what we do here. As the name implies, the Bioscience Division specializes in fields of studies such as botany, genetics, and medicine. Our most important directive is to ensure the health and well-being of everyone in the Institute. To that end, we cultivate highly specialized breeds of flora for use in food and medicine. We've even started to explore the idea of synthetic animal life. You probably saw the gorillas. They're really just a pet project at this point, but the potential is exciting nonetheless.
Seems like there's nothing you guys can't do.
With hard work and ingenuity, any challenge can be overcome. I'm sure I've taken up enough of your time as it is. But I have to ask, have you decided whether you'll join us?
I'm not sure how well I'll fit in, but I'd like to give it a try.
Great. I was hoping you'd say that. In any case, I imagine you'll want to continue looking around. Or, if you prefer, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
You mentioned medical care. I might need that from time to time.
In that case, you'll want to introduce yourself to Dr. Dean Volkert. He's our top biologist and also serves as the Institute's resident physician. Dr. Volkert works in the infirmary. Just pay him a visit whenever you need to. You won't find better medical care anywhere else in the Commonwealth. I'll promise you that. One of these houses would be a good place to set up some beds.
Here's that holotape you gave me, full of Institute data. I hope.
Well, all right. I'll start digging into this and see if I can make heads or tails of it.
What do you hope to find?
Whatever the Institute doesn't want anybody to know. All the good stuff on here is gonna be encrypted. So the first job is to see if I can crack it. After that, well, I'll have to see what I've got. There's no telling what we might have grabbed off their mainframe.
Everyone's excited about the new synth project. Pardon me.
Now that you've had a chance to see the Institute firsthand, what do you think?
You've got technology here that I never dreamed possible. It's amazing.
I'm glad you can appreciate what we've accomplished. None of it has been easy. Ultimately, all our knowledge and resources are focused on a single goal. The goal is best summarized by our motto: mankind redefined. Unfortunately, no advancement comes without occasional setbacks. As remarkable as our synths are, they can be dangerous without proper supervision. The superior synth mind and body attempting to wrestle with something approaching free will can be a recipe for chaos.
If the synths are intelligent and self-aware, then they have a right to free will.
However closely they may approximate human behavior, they are still our creations. When you see what I have to show you, I think you'll agree that we know what is best for our synths. A rogue synth has taken over the Raider gang at Libertalia. His memories have been erased, and his identity altered. He believes he's a man named Gabriel. Under his leadership, the Raiders have taken many innocent lives. I've dispatched a courser to Libertalia. I'd like you to join him and reclaim that synth.
Who erased his memories? And why?
Those idealistic radicals who call themselves the Railroad are behind it. We'll deal with them in time. But right now, the priority is to reclaim that synth before more harm is done. Now you should get moving. Many people are in danger, and a delay could cost lives.